They say success is built on resilience, but for Marcus Ashford, it all began with rejection. Imagine being a kid with big dreams, scrawny, awkward, and constantly told you wouldn't amount to anything. That was me, the kid nobody wanted on their team, the one left standing alone in the schoolyard. So when I finally made it to the top, becoming a self-made billionaire, I quickly learned that wealth doesn't always fill the void. Yes, I'm living in this luxurious penthouse overlooking the city, but sometimes in the silence of my success, I feel an overwhelming loneliness that never really goes away. And it was on one of those lonely nights that I found myself waiting for a table at a little Italian restaurant called Antonio's. I was just another billionaire with a hectic schedule, but that evening everything was about to change. Antonio's was chaotic, the kind of place where the aroma of garlic and fresh basil danced through the air. Couples laughed and families connected over pasta. But through that delightful madness, I noticed her a shy waitress, Lily, deftly juggling orders while speaking multiple languages with grace. At that moment, I was captivated. Here I was, a man who had everything, but I felt drawn to someone who had so much more to offer than the grandeur of money, someone real living in the struggles of life. But the irony wasn't lost on me. I had everything, and yet I felt like I was still scrambling for a real connection. It was in those moments, amidst the chaos of plates clattering and laughter echoing, that I knew this journey would take me far beyond anything I could have imagined. It was only a few weeks after our first conversation, the night I thought I had it all figured out, until everything came crashing down. I sat in my office, the hum of the city outside my window, a distant reminder of the life I'd fought to build. The phone rang, slicing through my thoughts like a knife. It was Barbara from HR. Marcus, her voice trembled. We need to talk. I could feel the adrenaline kick in. Something was off. Is it about the merger? I asked, my gut twisting as she hesitated. No, it's about you. The words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. The board has decided to let you go. Let me go. I could hardly believe it. You can't be serious. I've poured my heart and soul into this company. My voice cracked, but the truth hit harder than my pride. The silence that followed felt like a betrayal sharper than any knife. We're restructuring, she continued, and your position has been deemed unnecessary. Unnecessary. My mind raced back to every moment I'd fought tirelessly against all odds. I had fought to prove myself in a world that only laughed at the idea of someone like me leading the charge. But now, here I was betrayed by the very institution that promised opportunity. My knuckles whitened as I clenched my fists. I won't just walk away from this. You don't have a choice, Barbara replied softly but firm. I paced my office, the walls that once felt like my fortress now closing in. How could they not see my worth? It didn't matter what they thought. All I could see was the face of Lily, the determination in her eyes when she faced me unapologetic for her past. If she could rise from her struggles, so could I. As the door swung shut behind me for the last time, a flicker of resolve ignited within me. Their betrayal. It was my new path, and I would find a way back, not just for me, but for Lily, for all who had been underestimated and cast aside. This was just the beginning. You know, when you think you've hit rock bottom, life has this charming way of handing you a shovel. For Marcus, that meant showing up at Antonio's day after day, pretending he was just a guy waiting for a table like anyone else. And every time he walked in, that little voice in his head got louder. This is ridiculous. She's not interested. Move on. But no, he was too far gone. It was like a moth to a flame. Except the flame was a 5-foot-something waitress with a charisma that could light up the whole restaurant. But guess what? Every time he approached her, it was like stepping into quicksand. One awkward conversation would lead to another, and every attempt to win her over felt as futile as trying to reason with a cat. He thought offering her a better job would be a grand gesture. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. With that rejection, it was like he'd been slapped in the face with a dessert tray, sweet, but oh so painfully ironic. Seriously, you think I'd trade my dignity for a corner office? She said, and he couldn't help but chuckle through the sting of it. Still behind that witty facade, he sensed something else. A ghost of a past betrayal lurking beneath her surface. And let's be real, Marcus was no saint himself. He had his own set of demons whispering through his very walls of success. So there they were, two lost souls, battling their own chaos, and somehow still trying to find common ground. Like trying to dance when you have two left feet, awkward, messy, but somehow captivating. With every encounter, hope was served alongside deflation. But somehow, amidst the rejections and misunderstanding, little sparks of determination ignited deeper. This wasn't just about winning Lily over. It was about facing down personal battles together or apart. It was a storm brewing, ready to unleash something unexpected, even beautiful. And those tiny moments, they really made him want to fight harder. Because rebuilding from zero, that's where the real story begins. Everything felt fragile, like glass poised to shatter. Marcus stood alone in the dim light of his penthouse, staring out at a city that thrummed with life, yet felt painfully empty. The opportunities he had chased, the triumphs he had amassed, they all felt hollow now. He hesitated. A week had passed since their last meeting, since he made his promise to help Lily. And yet the weight of his own failures suffocated him. He thought of her rejection sharp as a knife. In an instant, doubts clawed at him. Am I just a shadow chasing after hope? But somewhere deep inside, a flicker ignited. A simmering whisper began to echo against the noise of despair. Maybe it's time to confront the darkness. With newfound urgency, he grabbed his phone. Lila. She needs me. He stepped outside, the crisp night air wrapping around him. The city lights flickered like stars, a reminder that even the darkest moments can be illuminated. This is the turning point. Moments later, he was at Antonio's. The familiar chaos felt like a heartbeat beneath his feet. But it wasn't just the restaurant, it was Lily. Her presence grounded him, igniting hope. There she was, her laughter piercing through his haze. He approached, heart pounding, vulnerable yet resolved. Lily, he breathed before he could question the impulse. She looked up, surprise mingling with that familiar distrust. "What are you doing here? I'm here to fight for you," he said, the words surging like fire through his veins. A flicker of recognition danced in her eyes. She hesitated, then stepped closer. "I can't keep running," he admitted, each word carving its own path to the truth. "Let me stand with you." And just like that, the spark ignited. In this moment of clarity, Marcus saw his purpose, a resolve that pulsed between them like electricity. A bond forged in vulnerability, ready to stand against the storm. Together they would face whatever came next. Together they would not shy away. And as they began to formulate their plan, a shared intensity wrapped around them, filling the space with possibility. None of this would be easy, but neither would it be impossible. Hope fluttered in his chest. It was no longer a whisper. It was a roaring flame, and he refused to let it die. As the boardroom doors swung open, a tense silence fell over the room, punctuated only by the flickering lights overhead. Marcus stood at the head of the long mahogany table, the weight of every past rejection igniting a fire of determination in his chest. Across the table, Damien sat smugly, a self-assured grin plastered across his face. But today would be different. Marcus glanced at Lily beside him, her eyes steady and fierce, echoing a silent promise. "We've got this." With a deep breath, Marcus launched into the presentation, weaving together the intricate threads of evidence that linked Damien's deceit to his past actions. Each slide highlighted not just the facts, but the resilient spirit that had gathered them. It was a narrative that reflected both Marcus's and Lily's journeys from the ashes of betrayal towards victory. The air buzzed with anticipation, the tension palpable, as he outlined how they meticulously gathered proof from every dark corner of Damien's empire. When the moment came to reveal the final piece of evidence, a hush enveloped the room. Marcus slid the document across the table, a headline that would shatter Damien's carefully curated facade. "Your time is over," he said, a quiet smirk forming on his lips. A knowing glance exchanged with Lily, a shared recognition that the moment was finally here. As the confrontation reached its crescendo, the truth became undeniable, and shielded by their collaborative strength, they scripted a redemption that resonated far beyond boardroom walls. The satisfying sound of a handshake echoed in the air as corporate alliances shifted, but alongside that triumph lingered an understanding. While success blossomed in the sunlight, the scars of their past were not erased, only transformed into the very foundation of their future. And together, they would navigate what lay ahead free from fear, but always marked by the lessons learned in the depth of pain. As we reflect on the remarkable journey of Marcus Ashford and Lily, we confront profound truths about power, trust, and revenge. Marcus, once consumed by loneliness, behind the facade of success, discovered that real strength wasn't derived from capital or influence, but from vulnerability and connection. By witnessing Lily's steadfastness in the face of betrayal, he learned that the essence of real wealth lies in relationships, forming bonds built on loyalty and understanding. Was Marcus's pursuit of vengeance against Lily's oppressor a quest for justice or merely an effort to mask his own insecurities? In chasing revenge, we often blur the lines between right and wrong, raising the question, can true justice ever emerge from selfish desires? For many, revenge may feel synonymous with justice, but is it not simply a cycle of pain that perpetuates hurt and erodes trust? As Marcus and Lily step into a brighter future, one forged from their trials, they remind us that healing cannot be rushed. It's a gradual unraveling of wounds, a delicate dance of forgiveness. In this complex tapestry of emotion, we must ask ourselves, is the courage to let go of revenge the real path to closure? Or will it always remain an alluring, seductive option? This story is a testament to resilience, a reminder that true power is not about control, but rather about the grace to heal and build anew. What are your thoughts? Is revenge ever justifiable, or is forgiveness the ultimate strength? Share your experiences in the comments. Let's spark a conversation that challenges our perspectives.